The film begins as Sergei Kravinoff, who is the Kraven the Hunter, is transported to a Russia prison very far away from the country. As soon as they arrived, he introduced himself to his new roommate. The next day, some prison inmates began to bully him while he gym. Kraven wasn't going to let that slide, so he proceeded to knock them out. Much later, he's then taken to meet with crime boss named Semyon Korny. Semyon Korny is the leader and ruler of a notorious gang known as Kirov Gang, whose gun had killed thousands of men and women, including kids all over the world. Kraven soon also reveals himself, but Korny believes the hunter is simply just a myth. Immediately, a battle broke out as Kraven grabs a tooth off a tiger skin rug, proceeds to stab Korny's goons before eventually using the tooth to stab Korny on the neck. He began to find his way out as he jumped out of the prison building. The officers begin to shoot uncontrollably fast, but he dodges all the bullets. He heads straight outside before an aircraft arrived to pick him up. The scene shifted to 16 years ago when Sergei was young and his brother Dmitri. Their father, known as Nikolai Kravinoff, who is also a mob boss, picked them up from school. He informs his sons that their mother had taken her own life. Sergei blames his father, stating it is all his fault. However, Nikolai Kravinoff isn't willing to hold a funeral for her since she died a shameful way, as they don't hold a funeral for one who take his or her own life. The scene shifted to a young woman named Aleksei Sytsevich having a conversation with her grandma. The older lady gifted her a portion of a drug, informing Aleksei Sytsevich that the formula to make this drugs has been passed down to their family for centuries. A sign of the spirit that won the gate to the other side of the world, and it would heal whoever drank it. She then gave it to Aleksei Sytsevich to safeguard it with all her life. Later on, Nikolai brings the boys hunt alongside with his team. They had a successful hunting. The next day, they continue their hunt, but this time, they are joined by Aleksei Sytsevich, who wishes to join Nikolai's empire, but Nikolai does not see him as being of any use to him. However, just then they come across a very huge lion. Nikolai to shoot it, making it furious and quickly attack Sergei. This lion fatally attacked and grabbed Sergei. Meanwhile, Aleksei and her parents are enjoying the beautiful atmosphere as they took picture. Just then, Aleksei sees Sergei with the lion as Sergei continues to bleed. Before the lion leaves, a drop of its blood falls into Sergei's body and begins to alter his DNA. Aleksei immediately goes to treat his wounds, using the portion her grandmother had given her earlier. Later on, a chopper arrived to rush Sergei to the hospital. Once they arrived, the doctors tried everything they could to save him, but to save this wasn't working, and later, they declare him dead. Fortunately, moments later, Sergei's altered DNA kicks in, and he comes back to life. The next day, they told Sergei that it is a miracle he survived and he was actually dead for more than 3 minutes. Nikolai brings Sergei home almost immediately. He began to question him about his decision on not shooting the lion the moment he had his chance. He further stated if he is truly like him or his mother, who is crazy when she was alive. Nikolai showed Sergei that particular lion head that had attacked him earlier, stating he shouldn't be afraid no more as the lion is now dead. Sergei is furious by this. So after the conversations, Sergei steals some money and took his passport. At night he prepared to escape, but just then he fell from the roof but landed safely. On his way, he found his little brother. Sergei informed him that something is wrong with him, and also inside that he follows him, but he refuses. So decides to leave his younger brother Dimitri to deal with their father. After a long walk, Sergei got to a field where thousands of wildebeest stampede. The animals run right past him, and one that is blocked by Sergei waits until the others have run past so it can keep moving, while Sergei is shocked by this. In the evening, Sergei soon discovered the length of his powers and strength, having fast pace and long range version. Moments later, Sergei heard a loud noise and rushed towards where it was coming from. He then finds out that most of the wildebeest are now killed with their horns removed. He finds 2 hunters with guns, who threaten him to leave. Sergei then picks up a knife and furiously throws it into the older hunter's head before proceeding to beat the younger hunter to death with his bare hands. Sergei is terrified by what had just happened. Now back to the present, Kraven arrived to his destination, and just then he received a call from his brother, trying to know if he is safe out there. He then took a long nap. Once he is awake, Sergei goes after criminals with enhanced animal-like abilities. He stopped a convoy of mercenaries and blocks them from entering an area to hunt animals. He ordered them to leave the animals alone, but they would not listen. So when they move ahead, Kraven enters their van and slaughters them, even biting one of their nose off. The leader quickly ran back to his employer, explaining what had just happened, stating he had eliminated the intruder and he won't be bothering them anymore. But unfortunately for him, he finds Kraven sitting in the boss's chair since he already killed him. Kraven fires a crossbow, eliminating him and even the leader before leaving. Still in present time, Aleksei is now a lawyer. She learns that her very close friend and colleague was murdered by guys working for Korny. Once she was done with the funeral, Kraven approaches her, revealing himself as the boy that she saved. He then gave her the portion bottle, which was hers. He also informs her that he is the hunter that has been going off and killing major criminals. Calypso is told that Sergei had already killed Corny, who was the one responsible for the death of her very best friend. That same night, she found out it was true. The next day, Sergei and Calypso met again, and she is very thankful for Sergei killing Calypso. Sergei also informed her that he has been looking for Calypso for ages now, and he is glad that she saved him by giving him the portion. He soon gave Calypso a list of bad criminals, but she told him that if he keep going for people on that list, people he do care about are going to get hurt. Aleksei is now a mercenary working with his crony Buri. He learns of Kraven's killing different individuals. Aleksei sees this as an opportunity to move in on Nikolai's criminal empire. Aleksei and Buri approach other powerful criminals to get them to work for him. However, they refuse and shot Aleksei. This eventually made Aleksei to show off his mutation, a power that causes his skin to harden and turn him into the Rhino, something he keeps off with his serum. Immediately, Aleksei's gunmen kill all but 2 of the criminals, and one of them kills the other in order to be employed by Aleksei. At an event center, Nikolai hosts a party for his soon Dimitri's birthday. Dmitri play and sing a song for his dad. Later that evening, the goon from earlier that joined Aleksei approaches Nikolai in an attempt to have him killed, but Nikolai uses him as a shield before a shootout occurs, killing many and ruining Dimitri's birthday party. Dimitri is in shock by all this and isn't happy about what they have done to his club. Nikolai isn't happy the way his son shakes and urged him to man up. Aleksei got informed of the bad news and also got a footage showing Sergei escaping from the Russia prison. They immediately figure out that he is the son of Nikolai. The next day, Kraven went on to surprise Dmitri by showing up at his apartment and wishing him a very happy birthday. Dmitri have his brother some cloth, and the two head out to have a friendly dinner where they both discussed about how strong of a man Kraven had become. Although this is ruined after their father Nikolai shows up. The 3 then had a drink together. Kraven took his brother to bed, and just then Dmitri told Kraven that he forgive him for leaving him with their father. Kraven also apologized to him. The next morning, Kraven went to visit his little brother, Dmitri, to spend more time with him. On arrival, he found his apartment in mess and discovers that Dmitri has been abducted by Aleksei's goons. Kraven chases them on foot throughout the city, while they sedate his brother, making him unconscious. Kraven continued to chase after them, and even smashing his way through windows and walls to catch up to them, but yet for a second they managed to get away. The goons got to a chopper, but Kraven doesn't give up here as he continued to chase after them. He tried pulling the chopper down, but couldn't as they shot at him. During this, he killed one of them, and a serious chase ensues. Unfortunately for him, they escaped with Dmitri. Kraven quickly goes to meet Calypso. He informed her about the situation. Calypso promised him that she will use everything and resources in her disposal to find these individuals. Kraven then goes to ask his father who they were, but he informed him that they are probably one of his enemies, and this would be a difficult one to figure out as he has a long list. He then showed Kraven the present they sent, which was simply Dimitri's finger, and he is given 48 hours to deliver a $20 million ransom for Dimitri's return. Kraven insisted that he pays them, but his father refused. He informed Kraven that it isn't about money but ego, stating that if he pays, it proves a huge sign of weakness. Kraven goes to a secluded building to find Dmitri, but this was simply just a trap as Aleksei Min uses a missile on him. Kraven fortunately noticed his and escaped. He then questioned what a goon, and just then, he informed Kraven that the Rhino is behind all this. While they wait for Kraven's arrival, Aleksei informed Dmitri that his men wasn't really there to adopt him but his brother. However, adopting Dmitri wasn't really a bad idea after all. He later revealed to Dmitri that his brother is the Kraven the Hunter. He tells him how being the Rhino causes him physical pain. He mentions how a biochemist in New York, named Dr. Miles Warren, had helped him with his condition. Meanwhile, knowing fully well that Kraven will come after them, Aleksei hires an assassin known as the Foreigner to come deal with him. The Foreigner is able to manipulate time so that he can do things like grab a gun out of an assailant's hand and shoot them with it. Kraven helps Calypso escape her law firm when Aleksei's goons go after her. They both went to the jungle, hoping to find Dimitri's location. Unluckily for them, they run into a wildcat that Kraven knew was a cub, and he wrestles with her for a bit before he and Calypso continue their mission. Later on, Aleksei's goons realize that Kraven is nearby, so they prepare themselves for war while Kraven also did the same. Kraven Wildcat from earlier began to attack them, giving Kraven an opportunity to approach them, killing few of Aleksei's associates. The Foreigner confronts Kraven in the forest and shoots him with a dart containing a powerful toxin. This toxin causes Kraven to hallucinate that he is being surrounded by spiders, before the Foreigner hits him with 2 more darts, and after a long fight between them two, the foreigner proceeds to execute Kraven. However, Calypso fires an arrow through the foreigner's eye. She then uses her own magic potion elixir to heal Kraven and get him back on his feet. Aleksei goes to inform him that the Kraven is now dead, thinking that the foreigner had killed him. Aleksei then proceeds to move Dmitri along with a convoy. Kraven sends a wildebeest stampede after them. Immediately, Aleksei then allows himself to fully transform into the Rhino, and a battle ensues between him and Kraven the Hunter. The two began the fight in the middle of the stampede, with Kraven unable to penetrate through Rhino's skin after hitting him multiple times. Kraven is manhandled and beaten mercilessly to the extent he couldn't figure out what next since nothing could hurt the Rhino. A moment later, Rhino holds him up by the neck, making Kraven spots the entry wound where Aleksei usually injects his serum. Kraven then used a tool to stab through it, penetrating through the Rhino's thick skin. Kraven then ties him up in a wire and flings him into the stampede, causing him to get trampled. Aleksei slowly dies due to his serious injury. Later in the jungle, Kraven confronts Nikolai, as it was he who sent Aleksei footage of Kraven escaping prison and alerting Aleksei to his identity. This was all a plan for Nikolai to trap Kraven into killing Aleksei, since Nikolai knew that Dmitri would be an easy target and that his brother would kill anyone and anything to get his little brothers back. In retaliation, Kraven quietly steals the bullets from all of Nikolai's rifles and leaves as a bear to attack a defenseless Nikolai to death. 1 year later, Kraven meets with Dmitri at the nightclub. The two argue about the paths their lives are taking, with Dmitri saying that Kraven is just like their father and simply another man hunting for a trophy. Dmitri starts to walk away, and Kraven follows him, but when Dmitri turns around, he turns into his brother. Dmitri is now wearing a suit given to him by a doctor named Dr. Warren. The suit allows Dmitri to shapeshift into anybody, making him the chameleon. The brothers bitterly part ways yet again. Kraven returns home and finds both a package and note from Nikolai. The note says that Kraven is just like Nikolai, a hunter. Soon after, Kraven then pulls out the gift, a vest with an animal pelt on it. He then puts it on and begins to stare at himself in the mirror. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe for more latest recap like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.